Welcome back to my international frame swap project. In this episode, I'm going to try to get some of the stuff under the hood, the rad, the transcooler, figure out where the air intake is going to fit, and also where the battery is going to go. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that that front clip is on there as straight as I can get it. And that's why I've got the hood back on. That's a big change from previous episodes. It's on there, but it's not fitting very well right now. You can see it's high in the middle here, quite high. And it's fitting not bad there, but as you go further to the other side, maybe it's more apparent when you look this way, you can see the gap on that side, and that's because it's sitting too high in the back corner, and it's a little bit too far forward. That gap's a little bit big, and it's a little bit small here, so I do need to do some adjusting on this to make it work. I've already dropped the whole front clip about an inch, and I think that's working better. Fits almost perfectly with the Escalade frame rails there. I've trimmed them down, but everything fits nice in there. And then also, too, I'll pop the hood and you'll be able to see the inner fenders. I put them in, and there wasn't much trimming required at all on them. You can see by the shocks here, I just had to cut out a little piece on each side to make it fit, and that's really all the trimming I had to do to make those inner fenders work. So now I'll open up the hood and try straightening and show you how I do that. Okay, here's my setup for straightening the hood. I have no idea if that's the right way to do it, but I guess on an old truck like this, there isn't really a right or wrong way. There's what works and what doesn't work, and hopefully this works. I'll see. I bent it a little bit flatter than what it should be, but I'll spring back after I release those, and we'll see if it gets close. These international hoods were cool. They open from either side, and it was also really easy to take the hood off completely. You just pull these rods here, and that's what releases the mechanism. You can do that on either side. There's a little rod that came down to the grill. I've removed that, but I'll have to put it back in. They were nice because you could do that, but the bad thing is they really do cut into the engine compartment. They eat up a lot of real estate, so it's going to make it a little bit more challenging to get everything else underneath here. But like I said before, I didn't have to trim them much, and they fit in there pretty good. So I think those inner fenders will be a nice, solid piece to build or base some of the stuff off of, the rad and transcooler and things like that. Well, I think I got that hood a little bit better. It's still high right along, but I'm going to save that adjustment until I do the final fit up on this. It's going to come off the frame one more time before I'm done. But you can see it's better than what it was. Maybe not perfect, but I'm sure this didn't come from the factory perfect either. Gaps aren't too bad. I had to lower the whole front clip a little bit to get those gaps better. But the big change is on this side. It was really high in the back here before, but I was able to lower that down, and this looks a whole lot better than what it did before. That curve is a lot closer. So I'm happy with that. I'll just open up the hood and I'll show you how I fix this side. Okay, there's those hinges again, and I can't see any adjustment on them. There's no way to move them or anything like that. Looks like they're just bolted in. I could maybe move them back and forth a little bit, but that's about it. Up top here, it's this rod that those hinges grab onto there. And it too has no adjustment on it. So I don't know how they ever adjusted these things from the factory. They probably didn't. But what I did is cut that rod and moved it up a full 1/4 inch. That's the full thickness of the rod. And then just welded it up. So seems to work. Not the most elegant solution, but it does the job. I took the hood back off so I got a little bit more room to work. And as you can see, I've got the intake put on. And that was just a cheap kit from Amazon, and it was, I think, meant for the Tahoe. Originally, it routed the pipe over into this corner here, but I heavily modified it to take advantage of this real estate I had above the engine. Not really the ideal spot for a cold air intake, but it gets it out of the way, so I've got more room elsewhere to put stuff, and I think it looks kind of cool too. I had to buy an extra silicone 90 there, and then also a 4 to 3.5 inch reducer to go onto the mass airflow sensor to make this all work. And then I just cut up the 4-inch tube that came with the kit and made the rest of it work here. I'm going to build some brackets yet to go down to the intake manifold to support that, the weight of the air cleaner. But for right now, I know where that's going to be, and I can work around it. Down in the bottom here, I've started to build the rad support. And I just took a heavy piece of flat that I had laying around and welded some chunks of angle and flat iron onto it, and then tapped the frame and bolted it down. And those rubber blocks in there, they actually came with the cap mounts that I'd ordered. Cap mounts were for a Suzuki, and they sent along some body mounts as well, and they just work out perfect for the rad. So I drilled them out a little bit. Those bolts are recessed in there, so the rad is sitting on the rubber. And then off that piece of flat, I'm going to build some more to support the rad yet, so I'll get working on that next. Well, I got the rad, a transmission cooler, a power steering cooler, and the expansion tank put in. And yeah, it fits, but it's tight. I'm putting an electric fan in. This is the fan that's going in there. I've test fit it, and it's going to fit good in there. It still leaves me enough room to change the belts on the motor. The rad just got from someone I know here. It's for a small block Chevy, but I understand that I can use that with an LS. The hoses are a 1/4 inch bigger, I think, but from what I've been reading and what I've been told, I can stretch the LS hoses to fit over top of there, so I'm going to try that. Transmission cooler is, you can see it in there, is 40,000 pound one off Amazon, and it worked out okay. And then I got a new power steering cooler. The old one was pretty rusty and in poor shape. This isn't the original type that came for the Chevy here. This is actually for a Ford of some sorts. I just saw it on Amazon, and I liked it better because it already had the correct mounting brackets set on, so I could just mount it onto that piece of angler. All this stuff is built off that big piece of flat that I put in there, and it's bolted in, so I can remove this whole assembly. I'll make it much easier getting the engine in and out and things like that. So this can all come out. And the way I put the rad in there, I've got rubber blocks up top, the same as what I've got in the bottom, and kind of built a clamping mechanism here. So when you tighten up this bolt here, it puts pressure down on here and holds this all nice and solid in there. And I got that on both sides. And then I used the rad support on this side to also form the bracket for the expansion tank. So it's got two places where I bolted on there. It's just a piece of flat that I welded onto this piece of 1-inch tubing. And then on the side, I put another bracket on to make it nice and solid up there. The expansion tank is left over from my Mustang project. I had it kicking around. I liked it better than the Chevy ones because it only had the 2 ports on it. It's got the one line up top here, and that's for the steam line coming from the heads on the LS. I'm going to put that in there, and then it's got the one drain at the bottom that is lined up reasonably well for going into the return heater hose. So I'm going to tee it into there and have that line go there. I hope I'm doing this right. Like that's the plan. Instead of the steam line coming there, this bottom line will go basically into the input at the water pump. And then on the rad, I'm going to put like a 22 or 24 pound rad cap on here. and the expansion tank is a 16 pounds. So the expansion tank will blow before this if it does overheat, which I think is proper. I got the expansion tank higher than the rad, so I'm hoping this is all going to work out. I was tempted to put it in without the expansion tank, but from what I'm reading, seems like it's better maybe to put one. Anyway, welcome your comments on that and let me know if I'm doing that right or not. As far as the rad hoses go, I'm going to put a swivel on the thermostat housing with a 45 on there, and that should line up pretty good with that bottom rad hose there. I think that would be a fairly straight shot then. Up top here, I think I can modify the original hose, just shorten it up quite a bit, put a coupler in the middle there, and I think that will work. And off to the side here, I haven't put it in yet, but I think I've left enough room for the battery. So the battery will live down here. I'm not building the tray for it just yet. I'm going to wait until after I route all these hoses. I got to route a couple hoses to the power steering cooler. I got to route all the hoses for the Hydro Boost. And once I have that all in place, I'll work around them and put my battery tray in here. So anyway, I think this is good for under the hood right now. Next, I think I'll work on that other running board, get that done. And then after that, I can take the body off and paint up the frame and start some final assembly and getting all this pipes routed and stuff like that. Thanks a lot for watching, checking out my progress. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for subscribing. And we'll see you next time around.